Hey parents, it's Kevin, high school pastor here. I want to share with you a little bit about a series we've got coming up in February called Non-Negotiables. We're going to take 3 weeks to talk about relationships of a romantic nature. Now think back to when you were looking for a significant other. What was on your non-negotiables list? We often think about height or hair color or somebody who's muscular or tan. Those are very superficial things. Our goal in this series is to help our high school students think through what should really be on their non-negotiables list. This series will take place on February 14th, 21st, and 28th. Our theme verse is going to be 2 Timothy 2:22, which says, "Run from anything that stimulates youthful lust. Instead, pursue righteous living, faithfulness, love, and peace. Enjoy the companionship of those who call on the Lord with pure hearts." In this series, we're going to cover priorities, purity, and a panel. So week 1 is priorities. As I mentioned, we are often way too concerned with things that simply don't matter. We should really be asking, what do I have in common with this person? What are this person's priorities, and do they line up with my own? Specifically, is this a person who's pursuing a relationship with Jesus? And is my relationship with them going to push me closer to Christ or drag me further away? We're going to be looking as our primary passage at 2 Corinthians 6:14 through 18, where Paul famously talks about not being unequally yoked. What did that mean? What's the context for an ancient Near Eastern audience? And what's the application for us today? As you have follow-up conversations with your student after this week, you might ask, how important is someone's faith to you as you're thinking about dating them? Week 2, we're going to talk about sex. That's right, it's going to be a little bit uncomfortable, maybe a little bit awkward. And if your student knows what we're talking about that day, they may not want to come, but I encourage you to encourage them. Unfortunately, talking about sex, talking about purity has become kind of a taboo topic. And if we as the church remain silent where we live in a sexually saturated society, I think we're honestly doing our students a disservice. So my hope is that your student will come and they'll hear a message that is deeper and more rich than simply, don't do it, right? We want to talk about the proper context, the parameters that God has outlined for us. We want to see that they can pursue purity as they pursue a relationship with Christ. We're going to be looking at 1 Corinthians 6 this week, verses 12 through 20. And you might ask, following this week, what steps can you take to pursue purity by yourself and with the person that you're trying to date? Week 3 of our series will feature a non-traditional teaching time. Rather than me getting up and sharing for 20 or 25 minutes, I've invited 3 married couples to come and share their wisdom and their insight about relationships with our students. One couple's been married for a little over a year. One couple's been married for a little over a decade. And our final couple's been married for 25 years, which is incredible. So I'm excited for our students to learn from their wisdom. I'm excited for me to pick up some of the secret sauce of what makes a relationship work. I hope that you'll encourage your students to come. It should be a lot of fun on February 28th as we wrap up the series. And you might just ask your student coming out of that week, what did you learn? As you listen to these married couples, did you pick up any tips? Did you pick up any tricks to help make a relationship successful? If your student does wind up missing any of these weeks of our series, I encourage you to encourage them to check out our podcast. You can search for Crave High School Ministry, basically anywhere podcasts can be found. We try to get that up on Mondays. You can also look for our quick recaps on YouTube, also up by the middle of the week. We love your student. Thank you for allowing us to be part of their discipleship journey. And we're looking forward to this series, Non-Negotiables, February 14th, 21st, and 20th.